it sits at is very distinctive, slightly leant over. And it's also, if you've got very powerful binoculars like mine, it has got a yellow eye, very distinctive of the brown snake eagle. Also, no feathers down to the feet. Only the true eagles have got feathers down to their feet. And I remember I said, I accused the bald eagle in America of not being a true eagle the other day. And Twitter nearly exploded with tremendous objection that I had cast aspersions on the character of the bald eagle. No, I didn't do that at all. When we say true eagle, what we just mean is that they belong to a certain genus or a very closely related genus of specific kind of eagle. So please don't worry. The bald eagle, magnificent bird, and very closely related to our fish eagle, is in fact an eagle. Don't worry. Oh. So, Lael, when we look at that bird there, you ask the astute question, can you tell the difference, can you tell if it's male or female from its size? Lael, you can if you see them together. I wouldn't have the first clue whether that was male or female. They're only a centimetre or two different, or maybe sort of 250 grams, so less than an inch or up to an inch in difference in height, and at this distance, I mean, it would be almost impossible to tell. I've no doubt you could find some people who try and tell you that they can tell whether that's male or female, but no, I couldn't. And sometimes the eagles are exactly the same size, the male and the females, but as you say, Lael, as with many of the US eagles, the female is often, I thought it was an alarm call, the female is often larger than the male. And there's one mammal species out here that does that. I wonder if anyone can tell me. Well, there are two mammal species. The ones you're going to see with Jamie just now, they are the obvious example, but there's a little antelope, and that's the duiker. The female is bigger than the male. And I'm not sure why that should be. They certainly don't live in a society anything like the hyenas. They're totally solitary. So it's interesting that the female should be slightly larger than the male. We're going down into the Whitey drainage line now, and we're going to check one more road in the east of the property before we head further then to the west. And we might pop over to Arathusa and see if we can't get some kind of an update from them, but I didn't get anything on the little WhatsApp group that we have going at the moment, so I'm not sure what will happen there. Now, James Richard, a very good question. The animals, you say, don't seem as playful as they normally would after the rain. Something smelling. We haven't smelt something that has expired. James, you're absolutely correct. It is because of the colour and not the colour of the cold. It's because of the cold and because it's still blustery and still rainy. When the sun comes out, then you will see that playful behaviour. Let's just have a smell, everybody. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Go. I think we're quite close by to where Jamie saw that lion yesterday eating the hapless female impala who we think has died. Well, if it was the one that the lion was eating, she definitely died. So maybe that's what the smell is. We'll just pop out over there, and then maybe we'll do a little trip down the river and see if we can't find what they're smelling. It's not very strong. It is a very subtle kind of rotting flesh smell on the air. And I don't know if any of you have smelt rotting flesh before. It's not sort of the Chanel No. 5. You don't want to be smelling it. But it is a very good indicator, perhaps, of, oof, that is powerful, of predators. I wonder if that warthog didn't live very close by here. The other thing that, of course, can smell like a carcass is an elephant's, not an elephant's, a lion's dung. So we'll just ease our way up here. And we're not far from that area where the warthog was killed yesterday, or died of natural causes and then was fed upon. Just do a little loop around here, then we'll come back down into the drainage. And I said at the beginning of the drive that I didn't think it was likely that the lion was still around here. It was quite a cold day, and I think they would have moved in that big storm we had last night. Yeah, can you smell it anymore, Bim?
No.
No. I think probably down in the drainage line, and if I'm not mistaken, I mean, that kind of smell is born of particles in the air which will probably be heavier than air, which means that on a cold day like this, they will sink down into the drainage line areas, as opposed to float upwards. So let's go back down there. I see no tracks of any predator around here. But our noses, you know, they're not quite as good. Well, I mean, they're not nearly as good as the animals out here, but you can train your nose to be a lot more useful than you think it actually is. And especially, and this is one of my favorite topics, especially when you are talking about our own human interactions. I find the smell of other people so distinctive. It really does affect the way I interact with people. How do you say you can smell your soup? Dada, I hope your soup smells a bit better than this rotting flesh that we can smell around here. If it doesn't, I would suggest you toss it out and make a new batch. Let's do a little drive down the drainage line here. So what could it be? It could be that warthog, it could be the remains, it could be dung from one of the lions that was around here yesterday. It could be that a leopard has stashed something in a tree around here. We're in Karula's territory, we're also in Mvula's territory. Maybe he's decided to come and pay us a visit. Maybe he's stashed something up here. The only thing is that if it's smelling like this, it would have been killed yesterday because it wouldn't have become putrid in this kind of weather. And so I suspect that if it was a leopard, it may have been spotted here already last night because there was lots of activity around here yesterday. Any ideas, Liam? There's a bird flying away, so I think that was the brown snake eagle. We're not far from there. No alarm calls, of course. Let's just stop and have a smell. Gerda, take a deep breath. No, it doesn't smell here anymore. Okay, let's go the other way. The wind, of course, is blowing from the southeast, so that's basically straight down the front of the drainage here. So we can't smell it here, it must be behind us. We'll just do a quick whip around. Come on, Rusty. Rusty doesn't want to turn today. Katie, you're in South Bend, Indiana, and you're our second viewer from South Bend, Indiana. You know Lucy from South Bend, Indiana. Katie, sorry, I actually missed your question. I was so overwhelmed by the second person I know from South Bend, Indiana. Oh, right. Now, whatever the warthog died of, could it have been passed to the lion after he ate it? Katie, yes, in theory, it is possible. I don't know what that warthog died of, though. I mean, there are some diseases. Rabies is one, for example. That warthog didn't have rabies, but rabies is one that can certainly be passed from something like a warthog to a carnivore, because it affects all mammals. But if it was something like the equivalent of bovine tuberculosis, it could also pass to lion, probably wouldn't affect it. If it was foot and mouth disease, for example, which I'm pretty sure a pig can get, then no, it wouldn't have affected the lion. So it really does depend on the disease, Katie. I thought I may have seen something in this tree, but of course when you're looking for a leopard, you see one under every branch. Right, let's have another stop and sniff.
I'm so lightheaded now from doing all this sniffing.
Have you heard Vian there? He said he's feeling very lightheaded from all of the inhalation of oxygen. No, I can't smell anything further around here. Now, unfortunately, after rain like this, unless we have a truly spectacular confirmed sighting, we're not going to be driving off-road. So while I wouldn't mind going sort of driving in there to have a look-see, I can't do that at the moment, I'm afraid. Anyway, let's continue slowly up this way. I might go and have a poke about there on foot just now. Now, Susan in Los Angeles, you're an astute safari goer and you want to know the difference between a warthog and a bush pig. Well, they're both pigs, obviously, so that's not a difference. But the one is, I mean, the major difference is the diet that they eat, and bush pigs are very rare out here. We do get them. But a bush pig is a completely omnivorous animal, so it'll eat lots of meat, quite a lot. It'll eat fruit, it'll eat grass, it'll eat roots and tubers and that sort of thing, whereas a warthog is a vegetarian. Although a warthog can sometimes be seen eating from carrion or chewing on a bone or two, they are largely vegetarian. Then a bush pig is a kind of, it looks like a wild boar. It's a very hairy, reddish color with a bit of a white mane on the back, and the warthog is obviously just that plain grey color. So those are the major differences. We don't get them around here. They're very similarly sized. Now, I say we don't get them, they have been seen here once or twice, but not much. I think we might find ourselves coming back into this area just now, just to see. All very quiet on the radio at the moment. I don't smell anything further at this stage. There's a francolin here. Look at the little francolins. I'm just listening to the radio while you look at those francolins. Apparently there was some sound of lions calling. I'm just going to switch off here and listen for a while. That, of course, is a crested francolin, the most common francolin species that we get here, one of 5. All right, let's quickly go across to the hyenas. They are out.
We had to get here quickly because this hyena cub is out without any of the adults, and I think he is gone. Yeah, back into the den side. All seems to be really quiet at the hyena den. A shuffle for... Oh, hold on. I'm speaking very softly. Come on, baby. It's okay. It's all right. One of the madam's cubs. So brave enough to come and investigate all on its own, but definitely not going too far away from the den site itself. Little one, you're very brave. Don't often see hyena cubs outside of the den without one of the adults present, unless there is an adult around here somewhere, just maybe a little way off from the den. Little guy, where'd you go? You're gone. Hiding away. There's been a lot of buffalo activity around this den site. There's lots of tracks around here, lots of zebra tracks as well. And that's probably what sent the hyenas off on their way. The cubs have gone to ground. I can't imagine it's too comfortable down there at the moment, which is maybe why this cub is outside. It could be a bit damp and a bit cold. Unless maybe they've got some tunnels that will be sheltered from the water runoff. Sorry, I'm just listening to the Game Drive channel. Bear with me one moment. just got a report from Andrew over the Game Drive channel, Andrew from Cheetah Plains, and that is that there are lions calling. He heard lions to the south, almost due south of where we are now, quite close to the corner of Djuma and Arathusa. He also thought he heard lions calling more towards Twin Dam side, which we've come all along, but that could well be the Nkuhumas. I know. Sorry, just listening to James now as well. He's just checking up. I think he's also going to be following up on those lion calls. And since there's no hyena activity here, I think we're going to leave and we'll travel down Impala Plains towards where Andrew heard the first set of calls, and I'm sure James will investigate on his side. I actually don't want to be here for too long if the cubs want to come out without the mothers around. I don't want to stress them out or cause an extra distraction, or in fact even cause them to come too far out of the den site to investigate us without adult supervision, especially on a wet, windy day like today. Just better play it safe rather than sorry. And we'll leave them for now. I think that Jake probably investigated the smell that he picked up on around the Muwati. I wouldn't be surprised at all, let me phrase it that way, if the Nkuhumas managed to kill last night. On a windy evening, dark and cold, they were hungry, they were very hungry looking. And the lioness that Brent was with, he had one of the Nkuhuma lionesses, Amber Eyes, calling to the rest of the pride. She was also apparently looking like she could use a good meal. And careful there, Brian, sorry, don't want to stab you in the bottom with a monkey orange. The female that was missing from the group when James had them around Buffelshoek Dam, so not Amber Eyes, but one of the other females, I think it was her, looked even skinnier than the rest of them. So they would have been constantly moving last night, on the hunt, looking for a meal. Sorry, guys. Copy that. Thanks, Andrew. I'm coming to join you in that area. Awesome. So the guys at Arathusa have just let us know that there is a male lion wandering across the power lines on Triple M as we speak. He's already crossed onto Djuma, so they've lost visual of him, but he's come straight through on the power lines. So we can head across there. Sorry, Zebra, I'm going to ignore you for the moment. He's obviously calling to other lions, and he could well be calling to the Nkuhuma lionesses. I really appreciate the updates. I haven't seen the Birmingham boys in months. So yesterday when I saw that one male, I had absolutely no idea as to who it was, except that it was a Birmingham boy. And Sarah, who is one of our viewers in Ohio, and she's been keeping very much up to date with the various lions out here, she just wanted to let me know that it was Birmingham boy number 2 and not Blondie, as was originally suspected. And I sort of went with the Blondie as it was one of the suggestions, and he looked quite big. But of course, if I haven't seen them in months, they've been doing some considerable, sorry, millipede, I missed him, considerable growing during that time. So he just looked a little bit larger than I expected. So it was Birmingham boy number 2. He needs a better name, I think. I have to find out. I know that there's Blondie and Scrapper, and there's the Hoff. One of them has been nicknamed the Hoff, but I'm still not entirely sure which one, as in David Hasselhoff, by the way. I'm still not entirely sure which one that is in terms of the 5 of them. And Birmingham Boys, for those uninitiated to the lions of this area, are a coalition of 5 youngish males that have just in recent months taken over this area as their territorial zone. They appear to have split, but they split and come together and split and come together into a group of 3 and then a pair. But that changes. It's very fluid with lions once they establish their territory and when they're in a big coalition with plenty of members to help defend the territory. Keep your eyes peeled. I don't think he's going to come up this way. I think he's going to go straight towards where the Nkuhumas are. Might be worth James listening in that area as well. I'm sure he will be doing that. Just having a good listen to see if they call, which is pretty much close to where we left them last night. Andrew for Jamie. Can I come and help you out in that area? Copy that. Thanks, Andrew. I'm just making my way from main access now. I'll come south along Impala Road. Just double checking with Andrew exactly what that update was. And apparently there was a female, from what I can understand, the comms are a little bit unclear, but from what I can understand, there was a female with them as well. Let's just keep our eyes peeled here. I'll go nice and slowly. I know that James has been investigating the smell, so while I go and investigate and see where these lions have gone, let's find out if James has identified the cause of it.
Well, everybody, it would appear that the human being can, in fact, track with his no or her nose indeed. There is the expired warthog, I assume, from yesterday. We're in and around that area, and what I find fascinating is that she's been left not quite untouched, but certainly unfinished. So, I mean, she's been mauled to the extent that I can't tell whether that's the sick one or not. I think it's very likely. I think she used to live in this termite mound right here with her youngster. I wonder if the youngster wasn't eaten. And maybe there's something in her, that sickness that made her so skinny and so rank, perhaps made her very distasteful as well. But something has got to be particularly putrid for a hyena not to want to eat it. Of course, during the rain like we had last night and the wind, it'll be difficult for a hyena to pick up and pinpoint something like that. So maybe a hyena will come across here and eat it when it warms up, or, you know, as that flesh starts to rot even further. Anyway, I think that's enough of being around here. This smelly warthog. Very exciting news about the lion that potentially we're going to see. Well, Jamie will see with you. And just to give you an update, there were 4 males calling to the south of us now. So I'm sure they're listening to those males. Maybe that male will call and just let his brothers know where he is. I think it's quite interesting, though, that so often it's 4 Birmingham males and one of them on his own. And it seems to be quite often a different one on his own. So I don't know if the one to see is the one with that scarred face, because he's the one that we see quite often on his own. It'll be very fascinating to see. So we're going to go down towards Twin Dams and then just head slightly more to the west and see if we can't pick up tracks of the rest of the Nkuhuma Pride. I'm not convinced that they are not still on this reserve. It is also amazing to me how the elephants have totally disappeared. So we have a situation where yesterday you couldn't shake a bush without an elephant streaming out from behind it. The day before as well. Now, not an elephant in sight. Where they've gone, I couldn't tell you. Are they hiding in thick bush? Maybe. Have they gone off somewhere else? Quite possibly. There are no tracks of them anywhere, so they've obviously flown away wherever they have gone. But it is fascinating that after all this time that I've been out here, I still couldn't vaguely tell you where the elephants go when the weather's like this, or where indeed most of the other animals go when the weather's like this. Deanna, you leave holes which are quite difficult, and then over the years those holes kind of fill in, and then you can stand on them and the ground will subside, and it can cause nasty injury if you happen to be running at a great speed. But not inside termite mounds, no. I think that's highly unlikely. Remember, termite mounds are built of, I mean, it's almost concrete-like stuff. It really is very hard indeed, and it's one of the reasons that only an aardvark is able to open them up and feed from termites initially. Once the aardvarks open them up, of course, then lots of other things will go and eat termites. The most voracious predator of termites, of course, are ants. Ants love to eat termites. It's very nasty to them. I always feel very sorry for them because it seems that the ants always have one up on the termites, despite the soldiers and their fearsome-looking mouth parts. Now, many of you would have seen them biting into my skin as I sacrificially gave of my skin for the school drive. I thought that was very nice of me, don't you, Liam?
Yes, of course.
Yes. Liam didn't hear what I said there. He just said, yes, of course, as a matter of course. And it amazes me how ants don't seem to be affected by those pincers at all. They go in there, 3 or 4 to a soldier termite, wipe them out, and then they go in and steal the young termites. And I've never seen a termite win the battle against the ants. It's always the ants that seem to be a very successful Viking raiding party. I have a children's show coming up in my mind, Ragnar the Ant. Hello, Matthew. You are 9 years old and you're remembering Scott and his special ultraviolet torch that he had at night to find scorpions. And you want to know if any of us have one. Matthew, I don't have one, no. Brent has got one, I think, and Steph's also got one. So we will certainly be looking for scorpions during the course of the next few nights. Fear not, we will try and match up to Scott's fearsome ability to find scorpions. Whether we will succeed, I don't know. One can only live in hope, Matthew, but certainly we're going to try. Right, we're going now to the south of the reserve to see what we can find there. You can see that the gloominess of the day is now becoming quite a lot darker than it was earlier. Just always good to stop and listen on a day like this, or any day really. See if you can hear any alarm calls, any bird calls. The birds, of course, are completely silent. But what you can hear, if you listen very carefully, the sound of a frog. You won't hear it. It's too far. Let's go towards Treehouse Dam. I know that Jamie has been there. Not too far from it, but I wonder if there's the frog calling from there. I don't think I've heard the frog from there. I'm sure there's a puddle around here where there's a frog calling. But there will be some frog activity. And we've had almost no frog activity this summer, which has been a bit sad. It would be very nice to have some frogs. Pamela, you want to know what happens to all the animals during a really bad flood. Pamela, remember that, I mean, if we had a really bad flood, if Liam just pans off to the left there, if we had a really bad flood, I mean, this area wouldn't be affected. It's nowhere near a major river. It's nowhere near a major drainage system. While it might wash away, say, Treehouse Dam, which is not fed by, but it is fed by this drainage line, but the other side of it, it might wash away the dam, but the animals will just get away and go to sort of higher ground, and they'd be fine. I think it would hardly affect them at all. Now, the animals living closer to the really big rivers, crocodiles and hippos actually are affected by floods far more than, say, impala or nyala or any of the other animals that can move away from the rivers very quickly. Remember, the rivers, when they come down in flood here, they come down at an incredible speed. They come very fast. And so animals can get caught in them, especially if they happen to be largely aquatic, which crocodiles and hippos are. But most of the other animals will just come up onto a sort of ridge crest area like this, grin and bear the cold and the rain, and then they'd be fine. Thank you, Pamela, for that. Right, here we are at Treehouse Dam, where there is absolutely nothing going on at all. I think we'll just stop here and have a listen, see if we can hear those froggies. Sean, while you look at the water there, you want to know how many millimeters of rain we had. We had 68 millimeters of rain. Now that's quite a lot. That's almost 4 inches, which is a substantial amount of rain. And I'm sure that this dam, I don't believe the drainage line flowed. I'm sure this is just holding water. It's so silent out here. There's just a gentle breeze blowing. But otherwise it is completely silent. It won't be as soon as the sun comes out. And again, Zoe, nice question. Did we hear any crickets after the rain in the morning? No, we didn't, because remember, this cold front has made everything quite chilly. Crickets, insects, of course, and they will need a bit of heat to get themselves going again. And so when the heat comes, then we will start to hear the crickets again, and a lot of the other insects. So normally we'd have like an afternoon thunderstorm, and it would be warm as soon as it cleared off, and there'd be stars out, and then you'd have lots of crickets because it'd be a bit warmer. But this is a kind of really heavy front that's sitting down on us. It almost feels like we're driving through the cloud here. So not much in the way of crickets. And we're expecting some more rain. And we were chatting to Michael Grover, who is the ecologist for the area, and he said that the storm, was a large storm over Pretoria about 2.5 hours ago, and that normally will take between 6 to 10 hours to get from Pretoria, which is the capital of South Africa, all the way down here to the Lowveld. So, I mean, that was at, what was that? That was about 3 o'clock. No, 4 o'clock. So 10 hours after that, we're looking at, good grief, 10 hours from 4 o'clock. Will take us to 2 o'clock this morning. Okay, let's go across to Jamie and a hyena.
Here goes a hyena walking away into the bushes. Now, when I first saw him, he came dashing out from my right, and I'm just wondering whether, because we've come to exactly where the lion would in theory have popped out, and I wonder if he's not running away from the presence of the lion. Let's go check. So Andrew and I have both been looking. Originally the lion was calling, the male lion was calling repeatedly as he walked across the road. He was coming in this direction. Oh, the rain's coming. Now, I've just got an update as well that the Nkuhumas are on Simbambili, so that is where they are. There's rain streaming in to the east of us. It's coming our way rapidly. I think it would be a good idea if James started making his way in this direction. As it is, maybe he can come and help us check the western edge of quarantine while we drive along Zoe's road. Let's just double check and see if this lion hasn't popped out somewhere around here. Keep your eyes peeled. Yes, so the Nkuhumas are on Simbambili. They were found earlier this afternoon. I don't think they have a kill, but I could be completely wrong about that. It was just a little bit of an update that we received. But there was a male walking across in this direction. It sounds as though they found 4 Birmingham boys around Ingwe Mati, which is further to the southwest of us. Oh, we've just got to see if this male... The hyena was in a hurry. Let's put it that way. He jogged a little bit and then did the sort of the standard run, the fast walk that hyenas often do when faced with lions. Let's just see. All eyes peeled, many eyes better than one. Where are you, boy? Let's see if we can't get a glimpse before the rain sets in. There's that sudden drop in temperature. And on a cool day like today, lions can move about at any time of the day. All of the normal rules in inverted commas, go straight out of the window. You get all manner of animals wandering about. That's odd. We would have heard them. So he hasn't passed through here. And you don't mess with an impala's eyesight. Impala will see a lion coming at 100 meters through the bush. And they haven't made a peep. So maybe I was mistaken about the hyena running away from a lion. I'm almost certain with this number of impala around, we would have heard them alarm calling. The update was that the lion was walking along the power lines. I've checked all along the power lines. There aren't any tracks that I can see on the road. But in light like this, I could well have missed them. Let's just keep checking. I've left power lines now. I stopped there for quite a long time to listen to see if he was calling again. I'm now on Zoe's road, so a little bit further to the east. Essentially what I've done is worked my way along in a grid to see if I could jump ahead. He's cutting through the blocks. I'm restricted to the roads, so I've been doing a sort of a grid-like pattern to try and get ahead of him, wherever he may be. Now, a lion walking at a normal pace, or if he is striding to go and meet the rest of his coalition, he could be walking even faster. They can cover ground far faster than you ever expect them to. I've been caught out once or twice before trying to predict exactly where a lion's going to come through the bush and out of a block, even when I know exactly where they've gone in. Could well come out somewhere here. It'd be very nice if he would call for us at some point now. Juliet is watching and saying that she is surprised by the quiet and silence of the bush, and she said it's always characterized as a place that is always, or seems to be characterized as a place that is always noisy. And Juliet, first of all, the bush is a lot quieter this summer than any other summer I've experienced, just in terms of insect noise. But no matter how noisy the bush ever gets, and it does occasionally, you've got crickets calling or birds chirping away, no matter how noisy it does get, there is this deep and profound silence underneath that surface level of noise that is almost indescribable. Here comes the rain. And it's something that I always say, or I always try and make my guests enjoy wherever we happen to be. I stop the vehicle, turn it off, and just let them listen to that sound. We don't have the typical city noises, and you won't believe how accustomed you come to the sound of traffic. And what an aspect that plays in the noises that we hear. At the moment though, on cloudy days, on cloudy rainy days like today, it does become incredibly noisy. Sorry, not incredibly noisy, the exact opposite. It does become much quieter. Wind's picking up as well. Might need to put my cap on just to keep the rain out of my eyes. Brian, do you want to put your... Yeah, we need to put our rain cover on as well. Brian sort of balanced the rain cover precariously on the top, so forgive us. We're just going to stop so that we can do that. Would you like the skirt that goes around that? And while we do that, and while I put my cap on so that I can see in the rain, you can jump on the back of James's vehicle because his rain cover's already on.
My rain cover is on, everybody, but Wiem's is not quite on yet. He is just quickly putting it on behind us, and then we will be off into the squall. A thick Scotch mist has descended upon the Lowveld. We're very afraid of rain out here, of course. We're not used to it. Wiem, are you ready? Now, hear me, this hood is a bit ridiculous. But it does hide my bald spot, of course. Kirsten, how are the sound levels? I'm not sure what they're like within my, within this... Oh, good, you can hear me. Sound wonderful, of course. Marvelous. Now, Leopard, this is the million-dollar question, of course. What on earth are you doing, man?
My roll of toilet paper.
Your roll of toilet paper. This is not the time for that. Oh, I see you want to wipe the lens. Right, okay. Yeah, you can use my hat. Leopard, while we drive along, I'm going to get a little bit closer to home, just in case that this squall doesn't abate. You want to know about whether or... Oh, there we go. Liam's found his loo paper. I want to know if the grass is going to have a chance to get tall or not. Leopard, we're in March. Now, even if we get into winter and we have a flash of rain, sometimes there is a flush of green. But that is normally so that the plant can build up carbohydrate reserves, not so that it can put up the culms or stalks on which the inflorescence and seeds will grow. So no, I don't think the grass is going to get tall at all. I think that it is going to become green and it will become a bit thicker and spread out a bit, but I don't think it's going to put up or expend the energy to make the seeds. Remember, to make seeds and to make the stalks that the seeds go on is very expensive with a grass plant, and can only do that if it's built up sufficient reserves. The only way it can build up sufficient reserves is if it's got leaves, which in turn it will use to gather carbohydrates in the underground storage systems in the plant. I mean, you can't believe how fascinating actually a grass plant is. But for most of you, you'll be yawning immediately and going to sleep. But for those who aren't, a grass plant is actually a fascinating thing, and you will find that despite the fact that we have had lots of rain now, I really don't think that they're going to have built up sufficient reserves to, there's a kudu, to put up the seeds and culms. Hello, kudu. Gee, this is a big fellow. Look at him. Isn't he wonderful? Look at this beautiful kudu bull. Now, the other thing you'll notice about these kudu, as Steph pointed out to me the other day, is that their necks are getting very thick. And their necks are getting very thick because they are too going into the rut, their rut, which isn't quite as obvious as the impala rut, but it is going to happen. And I think you'll also find that's why they are so confiding at the moment. They're prepared to walk past us. They're not that worried about going past us. Normally they'd run away. But today he seems to be completely happy about it, and I suspect it's because he's inundated with testosterone. Liam, where's my hat? I don't believe that this hood is working for me. You've lost my hat, haven't you? Sorry, everybody. We'll be with you in 1 second. Here we go. Liam, would you pan off me? I don't want people to be blinded by my bald spot there. You see how cleverly I did that? Nobody saw anything. As far as they're concerned, I have the hair of Scott Dyson and Novak Djokovic. Right, on we go. Of course, my lapel mic is now hidden underneath my jacket because it can't get wet. And so you may struggle to hear me, but I will try and talk into the back microphone and then it will be fine. Hello, Rusty Pipe. Resident comedian for the day. Rusty Pipe, you say we shall soon see the white-crested lens cleaner, and that, of course, will be Viam's loo paper as he cleans the lens in this little squall, which seems to be abating somewhat. Now, the lions apparently were around the western edge of quarantine, and I suspect that they might come out into the open as it starts to get a bit darker, much as they did yesterday. So we'll go up there and see what we can find. Hello, Deanna. You want to know about lions calling, and if a male lion calls, will he be calling to try and get hold of the female, or is he calling his brothers? What is he doing? A male lion's call is for two reasons. One, to contact other members of the coalition. So yes, he would want to contact the other members of the coalition, but largely it's for territoriality. So they do it when they are trying to mark territory. You won't call a female like that. Lions, when they make a contact call, it's much softer noise. And likewise with a female, they will only roar when they are being territorial. They won't want to roar to attract the attentions of males. Largely, they don't want the attentions of males because males are just a drain on resources unless they happen to be mating. Thank you, Diana. We're approaching quarantine clearings now. Into the squall we go, bravely. I mean, it's not raining very hard, everybody. It's just kind of drizzling a bit. But I think it will rain a bit harder a bit later. Now, Alice, you're in Ohio, and we saw that big kudu bull, and I keep doing this. I keep saying, well, you know, that was a big kudu, or that was a small kudu, and of course, on the screen, it's very difficult to tll the difference. A kudu will stand, you want to know how high he stands at the shoulder. A kudu will probably stand about 6 feet at the shoulder, so just a bit taller than me. About 6 feet at the shoulder, just under 2 meters. So quite tall. Right, Jamie has got a unicorn to show you.
I do have a unicorn. Is it Nelson or is it not? Oh, no, wrong side, boy. He's looking up to the north of him. I wonder if they're not other impala alarm calling. I'm just listening for a second before I reposition. I can't tell if it's him or not. There is more than one horned impala on Djuma. Oh no, he turned. No. Come back, impala. Come back. Don't go. Don't go before you've turned around. Oh. Don't stop there either. That's exactly the wrong spot. There you turn your head, boy. Let's find out if you really are Nelson. Look how he's looking intently up in the direction that I have just come from. It could be that he's listening to alarm calls. Come on, impala, turn your head. Except that you're behind a bush, so there's a chance we won't see your eye if you turn your head. Oh, the anticipation is killing me. Could it be? Will we know? I can't off-road. No, wrong direction. Yes, is it him? I think it's him. That looked like a damaged eye to me. A briefest moment. Didn't look like a normal impala. No, it is a normal impala eye. Never mind. Not Nelson, just a one-horned impala. The excitement, and after all that, as we sit in the rain and wonder what he was looking at. It was just one other one-horned impala, not Nelson, the one-horned, one-eyed impala, not to be confused with any of the other one-horned impala on the reserve. Whew, that was surprisingly tricky to say. Let me just turn my lights on here as we carry on into the drizzle. Chilly this morning, as I'm sure Brian can attest to, and one of the wonderful things about this rain cover of ours is that it redirects the water very carefully away from all of our expensive equipment to my general sitting area. So whoever happens to be driving winds up with a slightly damp, not to put it too delicately, bottom. And it's an important way of redirecting the water to where it can't actually do any damage, because we are fairly waterproof as people. Oh, there it is. There we go. And it's a bit chilly, but not nearly as chilly as it gets in winter. And Kathy was wondering, how cold does it get in winter, and do we still see snakes at that time of year? And the answer is it gets okay, for us personally, I think we have a slightly skewed temperature scale. But it does seem to get really, really chilly. You start to shiver, but it's also the fact that we're in open vehicles, so the wind chill factor probably takes about 8 degrees off whatever temperature it happens to be. So it can get to close to 0 in centigrade, which is 32 in Fahrenheit. So it can get fairly chilly first thing, especially since we're usually up and about before the sun peeks over the horizon. That being said, our winter days are probably the equivalent of summer in quite a few European countries and maybe some North American countries as well. They reach up to 25, 26, which puts it in the mid-70s Fahrenheit. So the days get fairly warm, and what that means for our snake population is that although they go into a period of what is known as estivation, where their metabolism slows down, they also are able to come out of that at times when it gets nice and warm, and they'll come out and bask, particularly around the roads where they've got nice unimpeded access to the sun. They'll come out and bask then. So we do still see snakes. They're not nearly as numerous as they would be in the summer months, but they are around. We don't see frogs, however, not many. And generally the tortoise sightings are fairly limited in terms of reptiles. The skinks and the lizards and the geckos, they tend to hang around. They're active throughout the winter. We also don't see chameleons as frequently. And speaking of chameleons, I'm just going to reach under and get my little spotlight out. Uh-oh, there's some dripping happening here. Sorry, hold on. I need to just rescue the radios. They've managed to find their way into the puddle that hasn't been deflected by my backside. Oh dear. Oh dear. Don't do that. Please don't drop in the water. Let's pop you in here. Stay there. Okay, don't stay there. Stay there instead. Oh no, this isn't going well at all. Everybody, hold on. Stand by. Everything's so slippery. There we go. Got it. It's a bit damp this afternoon, which of course is wonderful. How are you getting on there, Brian? Are you enjoying yourself? Every now and again, Brian is going to have to act as your windscreen wipers, since the camera lens has not yet come with a windscreen wiper attachment. Where this lion decided to disappear off to. In the winter months, I generally find myself in the summer I go out in just my work shirt and my shorts. In winter I will have, if on a really cold day, I may have stockings on, shock and horror. underneath my trousers, combined with a shirt and then probably 2 layers of jumpers, plus a jacket, plus gloves, and a scarf and a beanie. At which point I feel something like that. What is that marshmallow monster in Ghostbusters? I feel something akin to that. But you do get a serious wind chill factor involved. And even, I've said that we feel cold more acutely than perhaps those from colder climes might. But I've had guests come from Sweden, from the UK, sorry Guru, from all walks of slightly colder climates, and even they suffer in winter. They have, not suffer, but they definitely have to wrap themselves up in blankets. The game drive vehicles always come with blankets when you go out in safari in winter, and that coffee break becomes a very welcome reprieve. That being said, winter is an amazing time to see the less often seen mammals. Forgive me if I don't. Here we go. We've noticed already, given the drought, that it's starting to look more and more like autumn. Okay, now it's raining, so we're going to have another green flush. But the bush willow leaves have already started changing color and started going that orangey color of autumn. And Pamela was wondering how long until the leaves start changing color. Pamela, we don't get the same bright, vivid array that you might in the northern hemisphere, in those sorts of areas. Autumn, South Africa doesn't really do 2 seasons. We do 4 seasons. We do 2 seasons with a minor transition period in between. And really the only leaves that change color immensely are the bush willow leaves. They start to go a reddy orange browny color. But beyond that, most of our leaves slowly dry out and drop off. A lot of the trees here are evergreen. For example, the guari bushes are evergreen. The marula trees also don't tend to have as dramatic a color change. They just slowly start to gray and then drop off. But that will be happening over the course, because it's happening earlier this year, I would say over the course of the next 2 months, depending on how much rain we actually get at the moment. Most of the leaves are gone by about June. And June is when the really cold weather starts to properly set in. Still a way to go yet, although I've noticed a serious, I know James was probably talking about this earlier, serious drop in the usual bird species, the migratory bird species that would still be calling in this region in a normal year. And winter is an amazing time because then you get the smaller nocturnal animals coming out earlier and earlier. So things like aardvarks, and the only time I've ever seen a pangolin, the first time I ever saw a pangolin was in midwinter. So it's a wonderful time to see the smaller, lesser seen creatures out and about earlier than expected. I'm going to continue on my search for this male lion. I'm really keeping fingers crossed he's going to pop out on quarantine kindly for us. In the meantime, let's find out how Mr. Henry is enjoying our current downpour.
I think downpour is a slight exaggeration. I don't think it's quite a downpour yet, but it's certainly building. And Viam said to me as we were driving along, he said, it's going to build and build until it becomes super rain. So I said, Viam, what is a super rain? And he said, you know, like last night when it was going on our roofs. I said, yes, I know that. He said, that is super rain. If it does become like that, everybody, we will have to pack it in and go home. It would be very nice to find some kind of a large predatory cat. That has been the objective of the afternoon, but so far they have eluded us. There is a bush baby in here. I saw its eyes flashing. Flashing eyes, I saw. A wet bush baby. But it is dawn. It has decided better of being out in this weather. Quite clever of it, really, don't you think, Viam?
Yes.
Yes. no, it's fine. The weather is easing off now. Not so wet. Just a little bit wet. Okay, our plan now, we do actually have a plan, believe it or not, is to head towards Gallagher Waterhole, see if there's anything there. I'm not really sure why anything should be there, but it's a good point of call. And then we're going to go past Djuma Dam and back up onto Quarantine, because I've got a feeling that those lions are going to pop out somewhere around there. I'm not sure why or how they were lost in the first place. I think if they ran away, that's very unusual behavior. But I'm not sure what happened. Because of course lions are not prone to running away from vehicles unless they're new to an area. And I would be very surprised if they were new. Right, we are now at the pan, where there is, what do you see? What do you see?
Yeah, dead tree and a waterhole.
A dead tree and a waterhole, well done, excellent. Very good observational skills there. I also see rain coming out of the sky. Not much in the way of chameleons, they will be hiding. Much in the way of anything, really. Try and find an interesting tree to look at. Well, of course, one of the interesting things about rain like this is that, whoops, the door just opened. It nearly fell out. We nearly had high action there, Viam. One of the things about rain is that it causes erosion, and erosion, of course, is a major problem the world over, and it creates soil loss. And what it means is that when it's wet like this, we won't drive off-road unless it's in the right area. So on a ridge crest, where the soils are very well drained. So if we saw a leopard in there, for example, we couldn't go driving off in there now. But if we find something on Quarantine, then we can do that. And one does have to take cognizance, I think, of the ecology of an area like this. Although, as we were chatting around the fire the other day, Steph and I were saying, you know, human beings have been around so little time, and we are so concerned about, or some of us are so concerned about the effects that we might be having on the environment by putting roads in the wrong place, or perhaps putting water here or not putting water there. And as far as human history, or as far as world history goes, I don't think we're going to have much of an effect on this area at all. Once we are gone, in however many hundreds of thousands of years from now, this place will revert to what it was before without us. And so while we may have a fairly heavy impact while we're here, in the greater scheme of history, I think our effect will be almost negligible. There is a scrub here. Don't run away, please. You're the only thing I've seen. Please don't run away. No, gone. Oh well. Now Zoe, you want to know about predators that might move around at night and hunt and kill in the night. Zoe, just about all the predators will enjoy these kind of conditions, because it's very difficult for animals to smell them. This kind of weather will dampen the smell of predators. It's also very difficult, the wind makes it difficult for predators to, at least for prey, to hear approaching predators. And obviously the darkness and the lack of a moon or starlight makes it very difficult for prey animals to see the predators. And so, yes, this is very good weather for predators. They will all like to hunt in this. It also warms them up a bit, of course, to be hunting out in weather like this. Lions and cats in particular don't enjoy the wetness. All right, apparently we have been told that we're going to close the show now. So thank you for your interactions with me this afternoon. Thank you, VM, for your patience in the weather. We're going to make our way home to the dry, and we'll see you tomorrow during the dawn light. Oh, well, it might be a bit of a misty dawn, really, at 05:30. Until then, stay safe and dry wherever you happen to find yourself in the world.
Finishing off our sunset safari slightly early, but the rain is coming down and it's getting a little bit damp in this vehicle. Desperately trying to rescue all electronic equipment that I can. But I do have a quick update for you. There was a brief sighting of Karula on Philemon's cut line around Shabam Road by Andrew, that was called in by Andrew. No cubs with her at the moment, and he's left the sighting. But she is around, she is in the area, so a nice little update on our much beloved leopard. And on that note, I'm going to bid you all a good evening. Big thank you to Brian for all of his fantastic camera work and for sitting with me in the rain. And as always, a thank you to you, the lovely viewers, for your questions and comments and joining us on this damp afternoon. And as well to the lovely ladies, Kirsty and Jerry, who are sitting in FC. We will catch you all tomorrow for the sunrise safari, depending on, of course, whether or not it is pouring with rain. But we'll keep our fingers crossed and we'll keep you updated. Have a wonderful day wherever you are in the world, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow. Cheers.